KLIF News and Information Time is now 8:16. I'm Amy Shadroff. Dave has the day off. Following her release from quarantine in New Jersey, Kaci Hickox is now threatening legal action against the state of Maine if officials do not lift the 21-day home quarantine restrictions for her. After returning to the U.S. from West Africa, she was forced to be isolated at a New Jersey hospital despite not exhibiting symptoms of Ebola. She's now back in her home in Maine, but she does keep going out. With us to weigh in on this matter is registered nurse and attorney Kimberly Bocell of Chamblee, Ryan, Kershaw, and Anderson. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning, Amy. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks for joining us. Well, you're in a very unique position because you're not only an attorney, but you're also a registered nurse.
That's right. Now, I haven't practiced nursing in about 15 years, but yes, I was a nurse before I went to law school, and so this particular topic has had some bit of interest to me.
Yeah, you still have that background of being a medical professional. So when you heard about this case, what first went through your mind?
You know, I commend Ms. Hickox for her commitment to nursing, commitment to patients, going to the front lines, so to speak, and taking care of these, critically ill patients in Sierra Leone. And I appreciate that from her. But I also would have an expectation of her to continue on with that commitment to community safety there in her community in Maine.
And a lot of people I've seen on social media are saying it's like enough already. Why don't she just give up and just spend the 21 days in quarantine and move on?
Right. And like I said, she made the commitment to care for these patients in Sierra Leone, and she has to understand that there's going to be certain steps that she'll have to go through when she gets back here in the United States, and those people in her community are confused and they're scared and they want to know that they're safe. And my expectation of her would be that she would do what she needed to do to give that to them.
How about legally? I mean, does she have any legal leg to stand on at this point, in your opinion?
I don't think so at this point, because they've asked her to follow this quarantine. From what I understand, Governor LePage has tried to negotiate with her what the limitations would be, try to be flexible with her to some degree. She's defying that, and no action's been taken against her for her defiance.
So they haven't charged her with anything. So you don't think, since they haven't charged her with anything, that she doesn't have any legal action against the state?
Right. And what are her damages? I mean, how has she been harmed or damaged at this point if she's living her life, as some might say, defiantly, and to what the governor's asked her of her quarantine?
How about filing suit or a lawsuit against the state of New Jersey for keeping her in that tent for several days and treating her, as she says, like an animal?
The state of New Jersey, the government in the state of New Jersey, any state government has the right to impose restrictions on U.S. citizens, including limiting their constitutional fundamental rights if they have a compelling government interest to do so. And I think that the state would have a very strong argument that the protection of its citizens and its community is a compelling state interest.
I guess this is just all new territory for us, right?
It really is. It really is. This is unique. And by no means I'm not a constitutional law scholar, but from my medical background and my legal medical background, this is unique. And these states, the governors, I think, are trying to do the best thing for their communities, for their states. And we saw in Dallas that folks wanted more to be done, so now they're doing more.
How about businesses and how they deal with Ebola? Do they legally have the right to tell an employee, hey, you can't show up because you've been visiting Africa?
Oh, sure. I mean, a private industry has the right to put whatever reasonable restrictions on its employees who, for the benefit and welfare and safety of its business and the business community there within that company.
Same with school districts, because a lot of school districts are saying, hey, don't show up if you've been over in Africa.
Sure. That goes back to the government protecting a compelling government interest in this state, preserving the health and safety and well-being of its citizens, which would include local citizens and students.
Do you expect to see an end to this standoff anytime soon between Kaci Hickox and the state of Maine?
I've kind of read in some articles that maybe she's a test case, so to speak, that this standoff is maybe being utilized. she's standing her ground so that this can be tested legally and everyone can see how it plays off. If that's the case, then I think that it'll go all the way unless Governor LePage decides to just call a truce.
I guess she's just trying to prove that, just because she worked over there doesn't mean that she needs to go into quarantine or even will come down with the virus.
She is. She is. That's her position, and I appreciate what she's trying to say, and I understand that she hasn't been symptomatic, although there's a question about her having a fever there in New Jersey. But there's been plenty of other individuals who have come back from caring for those patients who were asymptomatic for a number of days and did come down with Ebola. And so it's a balance, and the government's trying to do its best to make that balance for the interest of its citizens.
How about the New York doctor that's currently being treated for Ebola? And then we find out that initially, according to published reports, he lied to investigators about his whereabouts in the period before he came down with the virus.
That's so disappointing to me. I mean, as a physician who's taken an oath to take care of patients, to take care of people, commit his life to that's disappointing to me. And, the state may have an action against him. I don't know what the rules are specifically there in New York, but, money and resources have been utilized to then track down all those individuals that he was exposed to because of those lies that he told and because of the decisions he made.
Well, Kimberly, thanks so much for your expertise this morning. We really appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate you having me. I really enjoyed speaking with you, Amy.
All right, Kimberly Bocell, registered nurse and attorney with Chambly, Ryan, Kershaw, and Anderson. KLIF News and Information time is 8:23.